everyone, and welcome to the Mountainside Podcast. Our guest for this episode is Chef Byron Gomez. He's currently starring as a contestant on season 18 of the reality TV show Top Chef. He's also the executive chef at 7908 in Aspen, Colorado. Byron has also worked at a multitude of Michelin star restaurants in New York City. I thoroughly enjoyed this podcast, sitting down and getting to know Byron and hearing his story of adversity and how he's become self-taught and self-made. This is a great episode. I encourage you to listen to all of it, and I hope you enjoy our conversation.
Well, let's get something going then, guys.
What's up, Byron?
How's it going?
Awesome, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How was the trip down the hill?
It was good. It was good. Yeah, I mean, nice, beautiful day, and you know, the scenery is always amazing.
Oh, man.
So.
This time of year is like the best. I always feel like I'm in like Ireland or Scotland or something like that because everything just gets so green, especially when you get into the foothills area.
Exactly.
And it only lasts about a month, and it just turns super brown and extreme fire danger and all that shit. So I love taking advantage of this time of the year. First of all, man, I want to congratulate you on all your success.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For people that are listening to the show that maybe don't know who you are, you're a chef. You're an executive chef. Yeah. You have some Michelin stars.
Yep.
You're on the recent season.
Top
I
Chef.
believe it's season 18 of Top Chef.
Season 18 of Top Chef. Yeah, that's airing right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
So.
And actually just getting off of that, right?
Yeah. We did the filming and everything. Season premiered April 1st. So we're like 3/4 into the season, and it's getting good. It's getting good.
Yeah.
Getting down to the wire. So.
And how does it feel to be done? Is it kind of a bit of a relief, or is it?
I mean,
it looks pretty stressful.
It's the hardest shit I've done in my fucking life. I thought like working in Michelin restaurants was hard. This tops it off. I mean, when we went filming, we left in September. We had to be in quarantine for 10 days in a hotel room in Portland, and in the middle of like the protest, and there was wildfires at that time, and us being stuck in a room, I was like, all right, well,
what a crazy
this shit's
fucking
gonna get
year,
crazy.
huh?
Yeah, this is gonna get crazy, but I got done with filming and everything, and it was an amazing experience. It was really, really, really awesome.
Yeah, no, I was only able to catch a couple episodes, but we were talking before the podcast. My daughter's super into cooking, and she religiously watches it. She watches that. She watches any baking show. Like that's what she watches. Which
How old is she?
She's 10.
Oh wow! And already has that interest for culinary.
Yeah, and she'll like bake from scratch and all kinds of stuff. So that's super cool. So if we ever make it up to your restaurant up in Aspen, we'll definitely be hitting you up on that. But
love to have you for sure. Have her come and check out the kitchen and everything.
Yeah, we'll get into that here in just a minute. I definitely want to talk about what you got going on up there. Cool. So people here in Colorado, we have listeners from all over the world.
Nice.
But majority of them are based here in Colorado because we're an outdoor podcast, mountain podcast.
Great.
We cover all kinds of different stuff from, rock climbing, skiing, mountain biking.
Oh, nice.
Fishing, hunting. Okay. Yeah, so we do it all. But yeah, just wrapping up season 18. What are some of the things that you'll never forget from that? Because I mean, you've probably had a ton of crazy experiences.
Some of the things, filming in the middle of a pandemic, we were the only, from what I heard, some of the producers, they work with, Masterchef, they work with like housewives or whatever. They work in all these different shows, and this was the only production that was going live during the pandemic. So that was very historic. The season itself, this was the first season that it's 15 contestants. We'll battling it out to win $250K this year, plus the title of Top Chef. And all the contestants, this is the first time that there was like no sous chef or a line cook or anything like that. Everyone was an executive chef or chef owner of a restaurant. So when I come into the room and Padma's talking about the first challenge, and she's like, so who here has won a James Beard Award or has been nominated? James Beard is like the Oscars, but for culinary. And like half of the people raised their hand in the room, and I was like, damn, this shit is fucking real. All right, let's go. So that was cool. Very historic season. The physicality of it, I didn't realize how stop and go and the adrenaline. I mean,
Sure.
a lot of people ask like, "Oh, did you feel shy on camera?" And I was like, "That's the last thing I thought about. It was the clock and get shit done." So
I could imagine.
It's instant like rush of adrenaline. Like your head is like going 1,000 miles per hour. Your heart is beating. You're sweating. You're cooking. Trying not to cut yourself. You're chopping. It was like the most exhilarating thing I've ever done in my life.
That's great. Yeah, I come from that production world, and this year has been a super struggle. I still dabble in that a little bit, like very minorly, especially this year with everything going on. It seems like anything that was set up to happen gets canceled.
Exactly.
So my hat goes off to that production crew
Yeah.
and the executives or whoever kept putting that on because people needed shit to watch, man.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
They need stuff to keep them entertained.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's funny because a lot of people are like, this is the one thing that's saving me from going insane, this past year. So people are embracing it. And the cast, again, this season is very tight compared to any other seasons, which is also really remarkable. You are competing, and it is a competition. But in other seasons, you have the one asshole. You have the few assholes of the season that you're like, fuck you, dude. Like,
everybody's got a puck from the real world, right?
Exactly. Yes, that's exactly
it. Didn't seem like that. It seemed like most of you guys were getting along.
No,
the few episodes that I did catch.
Yeah. And they were like, okay, so, is it competitive, like this and that? But we were all just going, like, as a restaurant community, we were going through some really hard times, people shutting down restaurants, figuring out different business plans, doing
That was
takeout.
one of my questions where were most of the contestants on the show, they all came from restaurants. They were all executive chefs pretty much, right?
Yeah, or chef owners.
Or chef owners.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the restaurants were probably shut down depending on where they were from.
Prime example, one of the good friend from the show, and now it's a really good friend of mine, Shota. He's in Seattle, and he had a restaurant, a fine dining Japanese restaurant called Adana for about 5-6 years. And he opened his second project, which was taking him 2 years to literally draw it out, do everything. It was his vision. And he opened a week before pandemic happened, and a week later he shut down. They had to shut him down. So it's just like things like that. It's just like you're like, wow, it's scary. It's scary, but people are bouncing back.
I honestly don't know how they survived. Especially like in some of those major cities like LA, New York, where the rent is so high. And
exactly.
The margins are so thin there. It costs extra money to get food into your restaurants.
Oh my God, it's insane.
It's
and we've been very lucky in Aspen, 7908. The owners have been very supportive of everything that's going on and kind of, holding everything afloat, which is
good.
awesome. We still have jobs. The issue that we're facing now is that, all these mandates are being lifted and all these bans and whatnot, but we're suffering with staff. Like, it's hard to get people.
It's hard. A lot of people have changed careers.
Yeah,
and
I don't blame them.
Yeah,
I don't blame them. But we're short staffed from the kitchen to the dining room staff, and we're trying to make it work.
So fill out your applications now if you live in the Aspen area. Right?
Come on over to 7908.
What all does the competition entail when you're on Masterchef? I'm sorry, Top Chef.
Yes.
God, I should be shot, man.
No worries.
Oh my God.
The PR people are going to kill me now. Sorry about that.
Okay.
No, what all does the competition entail? Because I know each one of those shows is a little bit different. Like, I couldn't really keep up with it.
Yeah.
But I know that there's like fire challenges and last chance challenges and like there's all kinds of stuff.
It kind of starts with a location. So they go to different cities every season. I don't think they've repeated any cities yet. I could be wrong. But, so they go to different locations, and in each episode there's a quick fire. What the quick fire does is you can win cash prizes. The best thing is to win immunity, so you don't get eliminated on the elimination challenge. So you cook for about 30 minutes, depending on the challenge. Sometimes it's 45 minutes. Like this one we had a 45-minute one, and we had to make a dessert. Another quick fire was the Rose Challenge, because Portland is known as the Rose City of the U.S. So we had to cook with rose water and like kind of commemorate like
man.
our mothers, like if we were cooking a dish for our moms.
Oh, that's cool.
So things like that is that you have to get creative on the
But
spot.
how hard is it to cook with fucking rose water,
Oh my God,
man?
dude, it's like so perfumey. It's like it's floral. Like it's hard. It's hard. I ended
That's
up
why I
making.
can't get into those. Like my wife drinks some of those like floral drinks,
Yeah.
like the seltzer stuff,
Yes.
and it's got like a hibiscus, whatever, eucalyptus,
Yeah.
and peach. It's like, what the fuck is this shit?
So pretty much, so we're talking about location. We're talking about Portland. Let's say Roses. That's the quick fire. If you win that one, there's like 3 winners. There's 3 favorite dishes. There's 3 least favorite dishes, and out of the 3 favorite, they choose one, and then that person gets immunity. So now the elimination challenge gets explained. Let's take a random one. It could be like we had a drive-in. One of the challenges was a drive-in, and we were broken down into 2 teams, and we had to pick different genres from like movie genres. So horror,
so like
comedy,
drama, yeah.
And we had to make a dish according to that genre. And we were going head-to-head teams. Like I was going first with comedy. Jamie had another comedy, so we were going first to first, and then the judges voted who was their favorite dish.
Wow.
So things like that, and then someone goes home every day.
The one episode that I did catch, and it was very fitting for me, or the couple episode out of the couple, and the one that really hit home, and I was like, man, this is awesome. I want to keep watching Top Chef now, is you guys were in Portland, and you guys went to like a reservation, and you cooked like a native meal.
Yes.
And I'm a bow hunter, so like, I'm very big on, where your meat comes from and that sort of thing. But that was one thing. Can you dive into that a little bit more? Like, I thought that was really cool because you guys were cooking with like elk and bison, or there was different ingredients that you had to choose, and you were on a team. And
yeah,
I'll let you explain.
So it was the location was Cascade Locks, and in Portland, right up the stream of the Columbia River. So we got invited, and it was amazing. I mean, that place is so magical. You have like a spiritual feel to it, honestly. To me, it's maybe not, but to me, I felt like we were like inviting into sacred lands because these people have lived there for hundreds of years, this tribe. And
I don't mean to interrupt you, but they did like a whole like native prayer before the meal.
The
and
whole
everything,
thing,
and,
it was
like,
very,
sage,
it was very legit. Everything from like their outfits to the
Anna's
way that
got some pictures of it pulled up here too.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
their outfits. It was really, really amazing. That's the chief of the tribe, and he was the one pretty much in charge of blessing the food, and everybody else would like bow their heads and just pay respects to it.
Anna, can you screenshot that for us so we can throw it in the video?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Then
Thank you.
the lady on the right, she salmon. They have down the block. They go and go fishing for salmon, which is really amazing. Her and her sister have been in this company for a while. That has been in their family through generations. So they provided the salmon for us that they caught, which is really, really cool. So the whole thing is like, you go in there and they're like, okay, these are the ingredients that we harvested for you guys to cook with. There was things from berries to salmon to venison. All these ingredients that they use in their food. So we had to make a surf and turf. Pretty much was the challenge. All the chefs drew out knives. We had to pair in twos, and it was a surf and turf. So I drew out salmon, which it was great. My partner Maria, she drew out elk.
Those are like my 2 favorite foods, man. I swear I was a grizzly bear in my former life.
So, and then they presented us with this beautiful ingredient called duck potato. I forget the name in their native language, but it's a duck potato, and it's almost like a sunchoke. It's a tuber, almost like a potato. It's really, really amazing, and they've harvested. I think last time they've harvested, they said it was like 100 years ago. And they gave it to us as the first people who have had it for over 100 years.
Wow.
To get this product. And I was like, this is so amazing. So, you want to pay the respects to them and to their traditions and their ideas.
Well, that's one thing that we're trying to raise some awareness here, is because I do get some hate mail here at the mountainside. There's some people that are not fans of us.
Okay.
Which I'm okay with, right?
Yeah.
That means we're doing something right, or at least I'm being honest, right? But a lot of that comes from I'm a backcountry bow hunter.
Okay.
I've done it my whole life. My family's done it their whole life. And that's where I prefer to get my meat from rather than going to a grocery store or into a restaurant. Or I would rather have the meat that I harvested, basically, right?
Correct. I mean, it's how everything started. That's how they did it back in the day. Like, so.
Well, I just feel like there's this missing connection with food now. Like, because it's so easy to just go and get it. And that's another reason why I do it, I guess, is to,
Well, if you really think about it, it's not the sustainability of it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, there's this documentary on Netflix called Seaspiracy. You should check it out. And the way that we're fishing our oceans, it's scary.
I've seen it. Yeah,
it is fucking scary.
Insane.
And that's just with the oceans, and obviously things with land and everything. But I think we need to, just like as a pandemic, we need to like give a pause to how we are agriculturing our land,
like a reset a little bit.
Yeah. Just because it's the system. I don't know, man. It's pretty scary. Like,
yeah. Well, there's a high demand for it, man, and like we have everything at our fingertips, and I think that's where there's so much waste. I think
that's where the issue is, honestly, because us here in America, we've never been a culture of struggling when it comes to food. You date back to places like France, you date back to places like India, where it's so rich culinary speaking, but a lot of their dishes have been a product of their hardship because of,
like the spices and that sort
and
of stuff,
all that
right?
stuff.
It's the flavor stuff that
like,
doesn't
let's
taste
say
good.
like a coq au vin, it's a red braised chicken dish in France. It's a classical French dish. But what happened is, like, through hardship, all they had was their wine and some chicken laying around, and they will marinate it, and they will make a stew because they will feed their family through whatever hardship, and that became a national dish. Here in the U.S., at a snap of a finger, you have anything. So we really haven't struggled with that situation of finding what our groove is, or sustainability, or gluttony. Like,
well, if you've ever seen the waste that's at the back of a grocery store, just drive behind a grocery store sometimes and like look at all the breads and stuff like that has an expiration date on it, and it just gets tossed aside because we have so much variety. So I feel like for me, hunting it's not a trophy thing.
Okay.
It's strictly to get meat, honestly. And when it's on my plate, I hold a higher value to it. I don't waste it as much.
There's more respect to it.
Yeah.
There's way more respect to it. And you're not going to waste anything,
And I would love to carry that over into vegetables and all that sort of stuff, but I don't have time to run a fucking garden.
Well, you can support local farmers.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. Yeah. No, but so I got to ask this, coming from the production world, and I've worked on some TV shows. I've worked on Hollywood movies. I've done a ton of live concert production. And sometimes some of these shows can be kind of scripted, or, there is some sort of script to it. There is some sort of drama element. Did you have any of that in this, or was it?
So the reason why I decided to do Top Chef is because, one, is the most respected TV show, I would say, out there. Two, it's been on for 18 seasons, so that speaks volumes. And three, it is real life. Nothing is scripted. The only thing that's scripted is when the producers are like, all right, we got to get the chefs from point A to point B at this time, and those are the deadlines that they need to meet, scheduling wise.
That's where you're in the BMWs drinking the San Pellegrino.
Exactly.
Shout out. Not a bad way to travel, though, I guess, right?
Those were beautiful cars, man. They were so sick. But no, nothing is scripted. So it's you. If you want to be an asshole, if you want to be a dickhead, that's who they're gonna portray. You give them. I didn't get that
vibe from you, though.
No, I was. I'm the nice guy, you could say. I'm competitor, but I'm like the quiet, nice guy. But yeah, that's the other thing that I really liked. Is like, they didn't alter anything. They really showed who you are, and what they care about is telling your story.
That's probably why they've had 18 seasons, to be honest with you, man. I think that's why podcasts are doing so well.
Yeah.
I think honesty goes a lot further than some bullshit.
Exactly. And, there are shows out there that are for entertaining.
Sure.
There's one, I'm not going to mention a name, but, you have a chef that's yelling at you, calling you all these C words and a beautiful, accent. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna, anyways. So yeah, things like that. It's just like, you have the option. What do you want to do? How do you want to be portrayed as a chef? And
Sure.
and to me, Top Chef is, I mean, they've doing a riff on it in France. There's a Top Chef in France. There's a Top Chef, I believe, in Italy. I think in like Saudi Arabia or something like that. There's another Top Chef, Singapore, and it all started from the U.S. So it speaks volumes that other countries are definitely trying to get that idea and portray it in their cultures, and it's a good family to be part of.
Yeah. The clock. Is that the hardest thing
The
that you
clock
face
is
there?
the biggest fucking enemy.
Because it seems like that's the drama, right? Like it's
So-
like 2
so
minutes and everybody starts freaking
Time
out.
goes by so quick.
Yeah.
It is real. Time goes by. That shit does not stop. So like for quick fires, my mindset was sometimes I was like, because everything changes every challenge. So you could be like, okay, well, I know this is where the salt is all the time. And that's a strategy. They're going to change it on you. I mean, it's been 18 seasons that people have thought of different shit.
I hate it when my wife rearranges like the kitchen. I'm like, I can't find my utensils. Where's the frying pan?
So it's like, okay, so when I explained the challenge and Pam was about to, I didn't really listen to Pam when she was like, all right, chef, so your time starts now. Like, I always like looked at the kitchen and I'm like, what do I go first? For the pantry, the pots and pans, what am I going to make? And then you could go get the pots and pans and somebody beats you to it and you're like, fuck. And now you have to think of the whole dish back again and pivot from that point.
One of the other episodes I saw is they made you cook on like retro, like a old oven.
Oh my
like,
God. It
yeah,
was like a
shit.
hipster. It was like the guys from Portlandia came down. Fred and what's her name? I forget her name. Carrie. Sorry.
Okay.
From Portlandia came around and they were doing the whole retro hipster 1960s, 1970s kitchen equipment. That was hard too. That was yeah. So some of this mix and bowls things that I don't know. There was this mixer that was spinning. And then the bowl was spinning too, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like the opposite direction.
What the hell?
Yeah, they complicated shit back in the day, man.
Yeah, man. You guys are going crazy against the clock. Everything when all the cameras shut off and everything. Are you responsible for cleaning up all that shit? 'Cause
No,
there's
have
flour flying around and shit.
They have a team of God sent angels. Honestly, they're the culinary team. These guys. The first few challenges, we were like, guys, we're so sorry. Like, all of us were like, thank you so much. We're so sorry for leaving a mess. I mean, back at 7908, I would never do that. Like, if I see my cooks kind of cooking the way that I fucking cooked on television, they'll get written up. But, yeah, you just don't have time. I mean, and they explain to you, they're like, don't even worry about making things nice. Work-wise, just get the stuff on the plate, and yeah, it's very true. So,
Nice.
so yeah, they have a great team, culinary team, very, very helpful. The ingredients on the pantry and the ingredients on everything, they've thought of everything, which is really, really cool. So, props to the culinary team for Top Chef.
Yeah, shout out.
So have you had any comments from your staff back at 7908 about how messy you were cooking?
No, because that's behind the scenes. So.
That's why they only show from the waist up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what does it feel like being in the top 10? Out of how many contestants started?
It's 15. It's 15 contestants. To me, the big milestone of any Top Chef season is become the episode that I think every chef wants to get to. It's Restaurant Wars. That's when we're at top 8. So we got to conceptualize a restaurant in 36 hours. Everything from the dining room decor to the dishes that we're going to do, the menu, the prep.
I did see that episode. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And this was a very historic one, too. It was a new concept that they've never done on the show. We crushed it. My team crushed it. So we won Restaurant Wars, which was really cool. And
it was like a fusion thing, right? Like
it was an Asian and Latin fusion.
Dude, I would go to a restaurant like that. So
And
those are like my two favorite foods almost.
The name derived from, we wanted to give like a homey style type of meal, but elevated. So we were thinking about like when you think about a home style meal, like what's close, you think about the heart and it makes you feel nice and warm and it gives you all this emotion. So In Japanese, shota was said that heart. You say kokoro, and in Spanish is corazón. So we took cocosón. We took kokoro and then corazón, and
I
then
didn't
we
catch
put
that.
and then we put the two names together, and then that's the name of the restaurant, Cocosón.
All right, this is where the podcast gets selfish for my own interest
Right
here.
on.
Okay,
Let's go.
so I explained to you that I'm a bow hunter. I cook elk all the time,
Cool.
deer, venison, trout.
Any favorite cookbooks, or how do you go about it? Do you?
Honestly, for me,
Yeah.
the Traeger Woodfire Grill, they're one of our sponsors here.
Okay.
Too, and this isn't a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
I cook on that thing as much as I fucking can, dude.
I gotta get their info then, because that's
love it, man.
what is it called again?
It's a Traeger.
Traeger.
Yep, and
Wood-fire grill.
they're a wood pellet grill.
Okay.
So you pour pellets into this hopper.
Uh-huh.
You plug it into the wall. It's
Okay.
electrically fed.
Yeah.
And it's just wood and fire that's cooking your food.
Wow.
You can adjust the temperature on these things. They have an app that has I think they have 2,000 recipes in this app.
Nice.
Right?
Okay.
And the recipes are done from awesome. You should hit them up.
Well, make the connection, man. You know, I could consult on some recipes.
But it's awesome. There's recipes in there, whether you're
wow.
vegan. It doesn't have to be just meat, but
Nice.
there's smoking recipes. You can choose recipes on the amount of time that you cook. This has turned into a total fucking commercial.
Oh,
right
wow.
now.
That's a pretty good setup. Look at that.
But the coolest thing is it comes with a probe and everything. So you can literally I've set it to smoke like a brisket.
Yeah.
And walked away for 12 hours, and I can watch it from my phone. I can shut it off.
So it has some kind of Bluetooth thing inside,
Yeah,
or
dude, it hooks
what
to the Wi-Fi and then goes. It's awesome. They call it the Wi-Fi app.
I'm the
It's
one
the
doing
shit,
fancy
dude.
food, and you guys got all the fancy fucking equipment. Where are we falling short here? Come on.
Traeger, you got to hook them up.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'll
look
put you
'em
in
up.
contact.
Please
man.
do, man.
They're fucking awesome, but they have wild game recipes too.
Okay.
And the coolest part about their pellets, one of the things that I like, is it's all natural wood pellets. So they use
Nice.
saps and stuff
Okay.
from the trees. So you're not having all these chemicals, involved with the food.
Yeah.
And then you can pick all kinds of different wood pellets to smoke with: mesquite, cherry. They have all these different blends of
Okay.
woods, and so it gets pretty technical. There's a whole subculture for this, but
Oh, it's pretty cool. I mean,
yeah, no, they're awesome for an at-home cook. Believe me, I can't cook much, but I can cook the fuck out of a meal on this, dude. So, anyways, that's what I do a lot of times is pick out some sort of recipe from there. And I love cooking. Majority of my diet is meat.
yeah.
So, and wild game as much as possible. So I love putting an elk tenderloin on there is my
Nice.
favorite.
Okay.
And just fast cook it to a medium rare.
Yeah.
And this thing gets it to the perfect temperature, and we'll shut it down. And then sometimes smoking some of the shoulder meat and some of that other stuff that's a little bit tougher,
Let it go
something
for
you
a
want
couple of
to,
hours.
yeah,
Nice.
slow cook it. So it's definitely the way to go. But we do fish, we do chicken. We've baked on it. My daughter's baked on it.
What?
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, not to get into, we do a lot of dry rubs. But if you were to prepare something like wild game, can you give me some pointers? Can you give me some tips? Or?
So marinating them. Marinating
Okay.
is one thing that I like to do with my meats, just because they're more lean, especially wild game. It's not
Elk, there's hardly any fat on it.
Yeah, their diets, is very organic, how it's supposed to be. So I would say marinating definitely helps it out. Anything that you add a little bit of acid to it will tenderize it.
So like a citrus or?
Yeah, you could add a little bit of citrus to it, a little bit of vinegar, whatever you have available, will help it tenderize it from one day to the next. I personally, if I was doing elk or, whatever other kind of tenderloin, I would marinate it, let's say in red wine, some leeks, some
Taking
fennel,
notes, Anna?
some garlic,
Oh
onions.
yeah, we're gonna have pop-ups on the video.
There
and
we go.
everything.
So cut all that up into big chunks, marinate it overnight if possible, nice amount of salt, and then strain that liquid the next day. Do your meat and use those vegetables and grill them. So they're already marinated also, and it's kind of 2-in-1 type of thing.
Damn, I'm gonna try it tonight. I'm getting hungry all of a sudden.
So yeah, that's one of the things that I like to do is definitely marinating, but dry rubs also. But I think dry rubs is more of an instant on the spot. Where marinating, you could take it for 1 or 2 days, and it will tenderize the meat.
I just never think about it until I'm like hungry. I'm like, damn it, I gotta cook something now. No, that's awesome.
That or stews, stews. Also.
Oh yeah,
like,
no, that's the way to go.
That's the way to go with lean meats like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
We do like deer tacos. I love. We do fish tacos, but with trout.
Oh, nice,
dude, it's so good. Like brook trout.
Hell yeah.
Squeeze some lime on it. It's the jam. So we'll get off of that now. We'll get off this selfish kick. Let's get more on Byron. Why'd you become a chef, man? Like, what was the driving force?
Well, it's actually my life story. My life story is, I would say, cooking in a way kind of chose me. If we're really going to get into depth into it. So I was born in Costa Rica. My parents moved out here. My mom in 95. Can we get a little bit personal here, I guess?
Yeah,
is that all right?
Yeah,
okay.
I want to hear your story because that's one thing that I didn't see or that they didn't really dive into too heavily on
there.
Yeah,
they touch a little bit, especially about my DACA situation, my immigration status and whatnot. But, when they didn't really get into the personal stuff. So pretty much, it was I grew up in a beautiful household, I guess, at that time. But then, once I was like 6 or 7, I was 5 or 6, I remember having episodes of like domestic violence with my dad, with my mom and whatnot, alcoholism. My mom pretty much ended up fleeing Costa Rica to come to the U.S. through a mutual friend from the family, and just to kind of like have a better life. I would remember my dad would come home, one of his episodes, whatever, and my mom would gather us like at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and wake us up. And like we would run through the coffee fields in Costa Rica trying to flee from my dad, and like I would like end up somewhere in a friend's house or some family member for like a week, and I didn't know what was going on. I was too little, I was too small to kind of understand anything what's going on. Then my mom just left, and it was like my dad and us, and my dad got his shit together, came to reconcile with my mom to the U.S., and they both worked very hard. And then they went and brought the kids, which is me and my 2 sisters, over to the U.S.
So it's a happy ending.
Yeah, so far. Yeah. It's great. Like I said, my dad got his shit together. He's the most amazing dad ever now, which is great. And then, growing up here, we were immigrants. My parents were working factory jobs, trying to make ends meet. Obviously, the life was better here than it was in Costa Rica. And then once high school came around, I remember my older sister, who's 2 years older than me, she made the National Honor Roll, and she was getting all this stuff to go to college. But because of our paperwork, she couldn't go to college. She had to pay twice as much tuition because she was a foreigner coming to study in the U.S. And the National Honor Roll didn't work out at all. And I was like, that really worried me. I was like, well, what do I do with my life? Do I go and do a factory job? Or do I do something with my hands that I could be pretty good at? And that's how cooking started. I was 15 years old, and it was a summer, and a family friend of ours came over to my parents and were like, hey, I'm the manager of a very famous restaurant worldwide called Burger King. And he offered me a gig. Yeah. I think you know those, no? There might be a few around.
I think I've heard of that one.
So yeah, I remember there was something. He put me on the front cashier, and at 15, I wasn't a people's person. I didn't understand how people had a hard time deciding a menu that's been there for fucking 50 years, so it hasn't changed. So I was like, okay, I don't understand this. I don't have the patience for this shit. Then they put me on drive-through, and that was even worse because, I was like, you have to multitask. You're talking on the mic, you're taking the order, you're punching it in, you're making change for the person at the window, you're making the drinks, So I can't do this.
I can't imagine.
And then a guy called out from the kitchen one day, and he was prepping, and they're like, hey, we need some prep done. Can you help us out? And I remember grabbing this one tomato and putting it on this like metal thing that had like 4 feet on it, and it had like a little basket with a blade, and you pull this lever and the tomatoes come out sliced on the other side. And I was like, this is fucking cool. Like, I'm getting to use tools. And, like, I felt like a grown-up.
Yeah.
And then, like, putting the patties on one end and they come out grilled on the other one and looking at the screen and assembling the sandwiches. I was like, I like this, you know. And then I did that for that summer. Second summer, I was already almost, I was in high school. And I worked at another very famous restaurant called Tgi Fridays.
Yeah.
Very
All you
classy
kids working at Burger
establishment.
King, listen up right
Let's
now.
go. Yeah, so worked out TGI Fridays, and I was there for about a year and a half. I did some serving shifts just because I wanted to really engulf myself in the whole culinary and restaurant industry. I worked on my way up the ranks in the kitchen to be pretty much the grill guy. That's like the highest position in the kitchen. And there was this one incident. I was working a lunch, and it was shift change. So it was like around 4:00. So the PM crew was coming in to work the PM service. And I was changing all the dirty, like we call it hotel pans, but it's like these trays that we put like meat in or vegetables. And this happened to have meat, and the meat was bleeding out. So I'm changing the hotel pans and trying to make the station clean for the guy that's starting the next shift. And for some reason, the guy got upset. I was a young kid. I was really good at what I was doing. And he was an older guy, and maybe he thought I was going to take his job. And it wasn't about that, And then I like bumped into him trying to like go my way around the kitchen, and he like got upset and he threw the pan, like he like snatched it out of my hands and like threw it on the floor and kicked it. And then the pan has like a sharp edge around. It ended up cutting my leg, splashing me with like all the like blood that was in the pan. And then he told me, he's like, "You will never amount to be anything. You will never be more than a line cook."
What a fucking asshole, dude.
And I was like, I took that to heart. Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna fucking prove you wrong.
If
bro.
I was a chef back then, it might have been a knife fight.
It's a very cutthroat. It's a very cutthroat
Yeah.
culture. So that fueled me. And then when it came time to graduate high school, I knew I couldn't go to college. So it was like, I'm gonna continue this cooking thing. I really got more involved in it and studied and geeked out and wanted to work with chefs. And I got my opportunity to work with my first celebrity chef. I guess I was 21, 22 in New York City, Daniel Boulou. Oh, yeah. He has a restaurant empire in New York. I worked for 5 of his 7 restaurants in New York. And that's where I got
that other cook's probably still cooking at Fridays.
I would say so, So that's that was my culinary school. I never went to culinary school, and I worked for Daniel Boulou for 5 years. He's like one of my biggest mentors, one of the biggest, most inspirational chefs that I ever worked for. So he does classical French cuisine. He had an ad on like Craigslist about he's opening 2 new restaurants. And I look at this ad and I'm like, fuck, I really want to apply, but I don't have the resume. This guy has kids from around the world that go to culinary school, and part of their externship is to come and work at Daniel. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to put it out there. And I got the call. And I started working with him. He took me under his wing and a lot of his chefs also, which was really amazing. And then in the culinary world, there's this thing called Michelin stars. So Michelin, the Michelin Guide pretty much categorizes restaurants between a 1, a 2, and a 3 star. 3 stars is the biggest you could get worldwide. So I worked at one of his 1 Michelin star restaurants in New York called Café Boulou. The menu would change. We'll be responsible not just to be cooks, but we will be responsible to put up specials and put up our own ideas on the menu as long as they were approved by the chef. So that was really awesome. Wow. Then did classically old school French cuisine. That was my foundation for 5 years. And then after 5 years, I'm like, let me do something different. Let's start from scratch. And then I went to a 2-star Michelin called Atera. Now, this is like Nordic food. So it's food from like Scandinavian countries. Okay. So you're talking about Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway. Yeah. So it was something that I've never done before. And I'm like, how do they eat over there? So this restaurant was, 20 people. It was like a horseshoe kind of like bar setup, and there's a kitchen. It's an open kitchen, so you're cooking, and you're presenting the dish. So they're looking
That's
at
the
you.
next level.
You know, so everything has to be very neat, very tight. You need to know what you're doing. And it was very finesse. And I did that for about a year and a half. And then I was like, okay, well, I done a 1-star. I done a 2-star. I want to do a 3-star restaurant and just get have it in my pocket, be like, I did it all. And that's how I ended up at
Would a 3-star be considered fine dining at that point? Or even a 2-star is, right?
Yeah, so a 3-star, how it's categorized on the Michelin guide, is like, it's a detour that you need to, like, it's like a world destination. Like, people travel from across the world. We are 11 Madison Park is the name of the restaurant. They're booked out like 3 months in advance.
Wow.
Like, you can't get a reservation there, and you're talking about like $500 for a person for a meal there, and that's not kind of like not including wine. Right. So yeah, it's a world destination pretty much, and worked at 11 Madison Park in 2017. Again, started from the bottom, worked my way up to being a sous chef, which is a managerial role in the kitchen. And during my time there, we got nominated and we won #1 restaurant in the world in 2017.
Awesome, man.
So I was like, okay, well, here's an immigrant kid with like no opportunities. He's worked at some of the best restaurants in the world, and now we just got #1 in the world. I'm like, what else is there left?
Self-made, man. You should be fucking proud of that, dude.
So it's been a really amazing ride. And then the 11 Madison Park team, they did a pop-up here in Aspen, and 2 winters ago, and that's how pretty much I ended up coming here to Aspen, because I was in New York. I grew up there. That's home. Okay. Yeah, that's home for me. But besides getting all these accolades and, working at some of the best establishments, the next step was for me to be an executive chef or chef owner somewhere. And New York City was already kind of fading in me. The stress level, it was just like too crazy at the kind of caliber of like performance that I was doing every day. My health was being affected, my mental health, my body was taking a toll. I mean, you're working 16, 18 hours a day type of thing, 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, depending on how busy we are. And then I came to this fucking little magical place called Aspen. And it was amazing. Like, it was like this little snow globe that you look at the mountain and you're like, this is crazy. Like, the snow is furry. It's light, It's not so heavy like back in the East Coast because it's not humid. And then the summers. I mean, what the fuck? Colorado is amazing.
Don't let the secret out, man. No, that's great.
Yeah.
Man, that's a fucking mind-blowing story. It's so
Thank
cool,
you.
man.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on all that, man. That's inspirational, I think, for probably anybody that's in the culinary world that's listening to this right now. I mean, starting from Burger King to
started from the bottom.
3-star Michelin chef.
Started from the bottom. Now you're here.
Yeah. Executive chef, TV show. Like
DACA recipient. So I want to talk a little bit about DACA. DACA is. It's a program the Obama administration put into place as an experimental thing because I guess the U.S. figured out that at a certain point there was this group of individuals who were brought here at a young age and did not go back to their countries wherever they were from, but don't have the legal paperwork to be U.S. citizens. So what are we going to do with these kids? And I was part of them. I was part of that group. So it's like, okay, well, you're from there, but you're not from there. You're from here because you grew up here, but you're not from here.
At what age did you come over?
I was 8.
Wow.
I was 8 years old. Yeah. So what DACA does is pretty much kind of grants working permits that you have to renew every 2 years. You still can't travel outside of the country, which that's a bummer. I mean, I will. That's the one thing that I yearn the most is be able to travel the world. But I do it through food. I've cooked many different types of cuisines. That's why my cuisine is world cuisine. It's not really, I don't do Costa Rican cuisine. I do Costa Rican influences, but I mix them with like Japanese techniques and Mexican ingredients, let's say. Because nobody could take that away from me. Nobody could tell me you can't do that. It's my own interpretation of art, how I want to express myself. So that's how I travel the world. So with DACA, I'm able to get the opportunity of work in this country legally. But all this happened before that. All of my career has happened before I even got to DACA. So It's been a thing that showcasing. This is the first time that I'm open to it. It's always living under that fear because somebody might rat you out and you might get deported, or you can't speak up because you're a minority, or all the situations. I mean, the last administration, I don't mean to get into politics, but the last administration wanted to get rid of this program. Wow. And every day I was waking up with fear, pretty much being like, well, if I get deported, like, what am I going to do in Costa Rica? Like, my life is here in the U.S., but I'm not technically from here.
Right.
So there was always that debate where now it's a little bit more easier.
We're happy to have you too, man. So.
Yeah. So I think I'm a true testimony of what DACA is supposed to be like and what they thought of, like, the program. And now I'm one of the fruits where I personally think that I'm giving a lot to the country and I'm not taking away from it.
Absolutely, man.
It's a story where,
not to mention your tax dollars, you're doing everything that everybody else does.
That's exactly it. But some people don't understand that I'm not the enemy. I'm just trying to live my American dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how humble are you, man? Like, I mean, it couldn't come from anybody better. So
thank you.
Yeah, man. My hat goes off to you.
Thank you very much.
So are you able to travel outside of the U.S. now?
No, I cannot.
Really?
Yeah. I cannot travel outside of the U.S. I'm only allowed to work in the U.S., and it's every 2 years that I need to renew this permit.
So at what point do you think you can get your citizenship?
Well, that's what the current administration is talking about. They're saying that they're trying to fast track all DACA recipients for hopefully an 8-year plan where we're able to get our citizenship.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we are from here. Like, I'm Costa Rican. There's this Costa Rican blood in me, and I speak Spanish, but I'm American. Yeah. I'm more white
from
than
8 years old. It's funny because I have friends from all over the northern Southern California, and they're from Hispanic culture, Mexican, South American, and some of them don't even speak Spanish. You know what I mean? Just because they grew up here, like, it's just how it is. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. But man, that's an incredible story, man. I'm so happy for you, and I hope that they get everything worked out to where you can go travel the world. Because me and my background, I was very fortunate that at like 22 years old, I was going around the globe with rock bands.
That's amazing.
So I got to experience all these different cultures and all these different foods. And I'm 60% Italian, so to go to Italy and sit down at a restaurant, like, that was life-changing to
wow.
me.
See, that's amazing.
Yeah, and like, you can try to recreate it here,
but it's not the same.
It's really hard, man. Like, when you see that sign that says family-owned restaurant or family Italian restaurant or family style, in Italy, they mean family, because they don't want anybody stealing their recipes, the spices that they grow.
Exactly.
Like, it was explained to me a little bit there. Like, it goes a lot deeper than just,
even let's say the ingredients.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had friends that go to, go to Italy, let's say, and they're like, this is the best tomatoes that I've had.
Yeah.
And like the best pizza. And the pizza is like a piece of flatbread with like a smear with like a tomato sauce. So simple, but it's just like the ingredients. And I want to experience that one day.
Yeah. I've had experiences there with like pairing with wines because like a lot of those restaurants have their own wines too.
Oh, nice.
Like, it's a whole...
Like the family makes their own wine. And,
everything, dude.
That's
like,
amazing.
they make everything. So we went to the spot and we were eating mussels and drinking like a Sauvignon Blanc. And I swear to God, I was eating Pop Rocks. Like, I was blown away, dude, because that's what was happening to my tongue. I was like, there's all these little like taste buds going off. My taste buds exploding? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, so experiences like that I'll never forget with food, man. Like, it's incredible. And I would say once they get you that, take advantage.
Oh my God! I'll be like, I am gonna be jobless. I'm gonna throw on a backpack and I'm gonna be a hobo.
I mean, with your career, couldn't you guest star at a restaurant or something like that? Or
well, the good thing about like I tell the guys I work, I'm like, this is one of the only careers in the world that you use all 5 senses of you smell, touch, hearing, sight, taste. So it's really cool that you're always active like that. And this is one of the only careers in the world that cooking an onion here or in Thailand is the same fucking shit.
Right.
You could get a job anywhere. So if you do it right here and you cook and you really want to do it, you could get a job anywhere. And nowadays, people see chefs as like rock stars. It's like the cool thing to do. All these shows and whatnot. I'm like, You go somewhere and you be like, yeah, I know how to cook. You could get a date. You could get laid.
Yeah.
You could go.
Laid,
It's the most important
You could get laid. You could get paid. Exactly. So there we go. You need no fucking title or no degree to this. Just cook from your heart.
So, I mean, with all that, it's all incredible stuff. And we're burning through time. You got to get out of here at a certain amount.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What time you got to leave?
2:00.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to
Cool.
take up this other, whatever we got, 20
Yeah.
minutes left.
Amazing.
What's next for you, man? What do you got coming up? What's planned? I know you're in Aspen. You're an executive chef at
908.
908.
Yeah,
Okay.
in Aspen. So yeah, things in Aspen are going great. It's a project that is very to the heart for me. It's my first project where I'm not under someone's umbrella. I'm the guy who makes the menu. I'm the guy who designs everything. I'm the guy that has a lot of executive decisions to make around what 7908 is like and our vision and what we want to portray to the world. I want to make Aspen or 7908 I want to put it on a map. I want to pinpoint it in the culinary world that we are doing something really, really cool. So that's when I'm talking about Aspen and 7908. For me personally, it's telling my story. I was so not oppressed, but I was just like, I couldn't say anything. I was always scared that now I'm like, I have that freedom of being like, I'm going to take this platform of being exposed on Top Chef and people seeing what I'm like and the example of what DACA recipient is like, and just saying my story. Today. I'm actually meeting with someone from a writer from a magazine here, 303 magazine here in Denver.
Have you ever thought about doing a book?
Yeah, that's what we're meeting for.
Okay,
we're
cool.
going over chapter 1.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I really appreciate you reaching out to us too and coming on here and sharing the story too.
No,
so
no.
thank you.
Like I said, I'm trying to do my own hustle and I have an amazing, beautiful PR person that if it wasn't for her, I don't know what my life would be nowadays because she schedules everything and she keeps me on point. But working with you guys, is something that I'm very interested in just because it's local. I've done the world cuisine and this and that. I want to focus more on local because I think we need each other.
Yeah,
especially after
100%.
the time that we're just coming out of this pandemic. We need to embrace each other even more nowadays. Yeah, so it's that. Hopefully, trying to see if kind of pitch some business ideas to a few investors. I want to open my own restaurants. I want to open
You absolutely should, man.
Something that no one has really seen type of thing. So I have 3 concepts. One of them is almost
be careful.
No,
we do have a lawyer next door, so I've said it before. We'll sue the shit out of anybody that steals our ideas.
Yeah.
So kind of like 3 concepts, and then just offer like Latin American cuisine because I feel like when we talk to people, when I ask people, it's like, so what is Latin American cuisine to you? The top 2 answers is Mexico and Caribbean. I mean, there's 29 countries in Latin America.
What about Brazilian food, man?
Exactly.
Like, Costa Rican food's awesome, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like taking a restaurant where you do influences from like TJ, Mexico, all the way to Patagonia, Argentina. And you change the menu as, you get different product. And your cocktail program is with the exotic fruits and all this stuff just to feature what Latin America is. Because I think it's a beautiful culture. It's a beautiful part of the world. But it hasn't been exposed to the world.
Honestly,
culinary
all the places I've been in the world, it's some of my favorite spots to tour, travel, see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's humbling too because some of those countries are third world, like when you get into
Exactly. Yeah.
It's pretty humbling to be walking down the sidewalk and the guy that's begging is not like dressed well and has all this stuff. He actually has like gangrene. You know what I mean? Like that is.
Yeah. So to me, being Latino, I take it upon like my responsibility of now that I have this platform of exposing and educating people what Latin America is, and we'll see where it goes. But at least the idea is there, and we're making the first steps down that path.
Awesome. So back to 7908, right? I'm gonna fuck this up.
It's okay.
What's on the menu there?
The menu. So I changed the menu seasonally. We work with 2 seasons. We have the summer season, then we have the winter season. Right now, some of our biggest dishes are the salmon. Okay, so we have that one. That's the Corvina. So that's a Pacific West, Pacific Coast fish.
Man, that looks like a piece of art, man. That's my next question for you. Go ahead. I'm going to let you finish. But.
So that's a homemade curry sauce. We make our own curry paste in-house. It's like 30 ingredients that go into this curry paste. We thin it out with coconut milk. And then the little dots on the sauce is a kaffir and lime oil. So again, you're taking Southeast Asia ingredients. You're going to have a green papaya salad on top with sitting on the fish is sitting on a sweet potato cake with ginger.
Man, looks good.
So that's one of them. Let's see if there's another one.
Oh, yeah.
I guess maybe you could go on my Instagram. There's actually,
some of the stuff that I was seeing on there, and one of the things I want to ask you about, I mean, really, once you get to that culinary level where you're leaving Burger King and Tgi Fridays, it becomes a bit of, it's almost art. Like you're almost eating with your eyes before it gets to you.
Yeah.
And to actually have, like the way that the portions are, like for people that have never been to a fine dining restaurant, I highly urge you, go spend the money, go do it. It's eye-opening because the different courses that you eat, all the different flavors that you're going to experience, how it's paired, having a wine sommelier tell you what wine to go with your food.
Yeah.
That's all an experience in its own level. Yeah. And you leave like, not like, oh my God, I'm so full from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You leave like perfectly happy.
Yeah.
It's the experience.
That's a perception that a lot of people have. They're like, I'm going to get like a whole bunch of little plates. And we, at least me, I think about it. I'm like, okay, so I take a one meal when people sit down and I take those reactions and then I kind of weigh it out. Be like, how much protein does this weigh? How much this? How much that? So I break a one plate that you walk out of the restaurant, you're like, oh, I feel satisfied because I'm stuffed and I got to unbutton my pants.
Yeah, that's not satisfying.
I break it down into 15 courses, let's say. So you still get the same amount of food, but different techniques, different flavors. Yeah. And it's a progression. So you start very light and then you go heavier. So that's taken into consideration.
I want to go to the nightclub after dinner.
And that take too. I mean, hey man, we have it all. We have it all at 7908. So let's say like that dish, the mole, the octopus.
That is.
If you look at it visually, it's only 3 things on a dish.
Yeah,
you're literally looking at 3 things. But that octopus takes about 4 hours to cook. Then the spice that's on top, that's a Japanese furikake. It's called. We make our own furikake in house, and we add ham to it. We add prosciutto to it. So I'm taking a Japanese condiment.
Octopus,
my mouth is watering so much right now.
So I'm taking a Japanese condiment that you put over rice, and I'm adding prosciutto. So I'm taking Japan and in Italy, combining them together. That goes with achote. Achote is an annatto seed. It's a spice from Costa Rica or Central America. And I'm going to take that and make a mole, which is Mexican, and now Brussels sprouts, which is European.
Yeah.
And all of that is in 3 things that you see there.
Part of the world right there.
Exactly. Awesome. So and
traveling
that's,
on a plate.
Yeah, traveling. Exactly.
It's incredible to look at too, man. That's cool.
Yeah,
it looks
very
like a dragon
simple.
or something for people that are just listening to this.
And then another one of the other creations that I feel very proud of is the Salmon Crudo. Maybe if you scroll down a little bit more. I don't know if right there on the right.
Yeah, that's the one I saw. Like when you posted that, I was like, "Oh my god,
so
look at this thing!
This is
that you could hang it on the wall."
This is the dish that I came up with last year, and we have not gotten rid of it. And it's backed by popular demand. So for the cook, it's a little hard because there's a lot of garnishes that go around. But it's a cured salmon, cured in spices, sugar, salt for about 45 minutes. Then it's puffed quinoa. We have some jicama ribbons that have been pickled, some cucumber that has been salted, and then we have a huancaína sauce. Huancaína is like a potato dressing that they use in the region of Huancayo in Peru. So it's like evaporated milk and ají amarillo, which is a pepper from there.
That is one place you got to go, man.
Huancayo, Peru?
Well, just Peru in general.
I know.
Oh, my God, man. The hospitality there and just how hospitable people are, and they want to immerse you in their culture, and then you start eating all those ceviches and stuff. Oh my God, dude.
So this idea derived from a Peruvian ceviche.
Nice.
So you have different altitudes of the Andes. So Huancayo is really high up where they grow potatoes. Then a little bit lower is where the quinoa is grown, more in the pasture, like the valley. And then you have the sea where the fish. So I'm taking altitudes also, putting on a dish, something that inspired me. But it's also art, I guess, and it's beautiful to look at. But it's really fucking tasty too.
Yeah, that's totally inspiring. That's cool, man. That's what you get when you're paying for fine dining. You're going into somebody that's actually like, it's a thought process.
Exactly.
It's becoming an art piece. Like, that's crazy.
And trust me, I don't eat like that at home.
Yeah.
I am a Wendy's type of guy, and so chicken wings, and that's my shit.
Yeah, but when you go fine dining, it's all about that perfect bite, you know. Like I hear people say it because I love to go to like really nice restaurants, and like I'm from West Virginia, so my friends are always like, "That's such a tiny plate. You only get 2 bites." And maybe it is like 3 bites.
They're not getting the concept.
Yeah, they're the 3 most perfect, balanced bites that you could ever have, and then they're gonna bring you 15 more plates with 3 other perfect bites.
Yep, and that's what it's all about. It's an experience. I mean, it's not a place. I mean, there are people who could eat there 2, 3, 4 times a week.
Yeah.
It's a place that, let's say, once a year, if you want to budget yourself and then go out on a day where anniversary, whatever it is, it's worth it. You know, it's worth it from the way
it makes it that much more special too. Like, if you eat like that all the time, it probably gets boring.
Yeah, exactly. It's too much of a good thing. It's not good. You know.
Do you have some favorite restaurants here in Colorado or in the U.S. that?
In Colorado, I really like Frasca. Frasca is a restaurant out in Boulder. They're doing some really, really awesome stuff. Frasca, and then Tavernetta, which is their sister restaurant. I believe it's on a Union Station. Those are really, really dope. Then in the U.S., in New York, I could kind of...
Have you ever been to Evergreen?
No, my first time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I like little rolling hills coming into town. Like, that was really cool.
It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, really, really
We got
nice.
wildlife running around here. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's so good.
When you come here, I'm sure you're going to dine at some point. So
okay.
hit me up.
Cool.
But you got to try the Wildflower Cafe.
The Wildflower Cafe.
Yeah, it's only breakfast and lunch, but
nice.
Shout out to those guys
cool.
and everybody down there crushing
well,
it. So.
I should be there soon then. You go check them out. Yeah. But also like cities, foodie cities like Austin. I was just in Austin doing some events. Fucking sick.
Oh my God,
Nashville.
Yeah.
Nashville is really amazing. I'm thinking of, kind of scouting those 2 cities to see if I can open shop there one day. But Austin and Nashville, though, I think they're really fun cities.
And they're popping right now, too.
New Orleans, I was just in New Orleans. That's just a different animal in itself. That should be a country in itself, you know.
You never know what you're going to get in New Orleans.
I know.
It's crazy. So, living in Aspen, I'm sure, I don't know how much time you get. I'm sure that you're cooking, working a lot. Do you get to experience the outdoors at all? You got any activities outside of cooking? You snowboard or ski? I mean, you're kind of in the mecca of it all, right?
Yeah, part of the reason why I moved to Aspen was because I got hooked into snowboarding.
Oh,
really? First year, I dislocated my shoulder, so I did like half a season. Second year, I ripped my ACL, so I did half a season. This season, we went good. Yeah. Nothing happened. I got a new board. I was like, I blame it on the board. That's why this shit happened. No, but snowboarding, it's life-changing. It's a sense of freedom. For me, it's a sense to, like, disconnect myself from, like, the world. It's, I grew up playing team sports, soccer and whatnot, but this is, like, your effort. You get really good. How much you put into it, that's how much you're going to get out of it. And that's how I see cooking as well. But also some of the views are, if you're not up there, right? You don't get that season pass, it's something so magical that you're never going to experience in your life. So like that kind of view, that's over in Buttermilk. That's amazing. So yeah, I got really hooked into snowboarding. And then in the summer, road biking. Road biking is my thing now. Road biking and paddle boarding. I love going on hikes.
Stand-up paddle's awesome.
Yeah, I love going on hikes. I really enjoy going to Moab, honestly. If I'm able to have 2 days off,
Utah's incredible, man.
Oh my God, it's like Mars out there. It's like a different fucking planet. So all the outdoorsy stuff here that I didn't have access to it in New York City. I mean, in New York City, you want to go snowboarding, you have to travel like 3 hours upstate. Right. And here it's like in your backyard. And
yeah,
the
you
snow
can
is
walk right out of
amazing.
Main Street right there and
Exactly.
get on a lift, right?
Yeah, the snow is amazing and everything. So Colorado is fucking dope, man.
Have you fly fished or tried to fly fish?
No, I
yet?
want to start doing it this summer. I want to check it out.
Hit me up because
Okay.
we have some awesome guides that are in the Roaring Fork Valley.
Really?
Actually, Cheyenne Orvis, we've had her on the podcast.
Okay.
Check her out. She's cool.
Right on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will.
and-
We'll love to go fly fishing.
Yeah.
I mean, something so cool. Like, yeah.
It's incredible, man.
Wow.
That's a good summer pastime if
Nice.
something to do when you're not snowboarding. But
Cool.
yeah, good times. Did you surf at all, or
I surfed. Yeah. I surfed in Costa Rica. I surfed a little bit. I surfed in New York.
So can you go back to Costa Rica?
No.
No,
I
you
never
still
been. I haven't
can't?
been to Costa Rica since '97.
Damn, man.
Yeah, I have not been. So
Do you have family there still? Or?
I have cousins and things like that.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, I go back now. It's a totally different country than what I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
I do want to go back. I'm trying to right now. Where I'm trying to work out a consulting gig with a big resort out there in Costa Rica. Part of it is, I mean, they know I can't travel, so we're gonna try to work out how can we get the recipes and things like that. But if I go to Costa Rica, it'll have to be like a fucking half.
Let me know. I'll come visit, man.
Oh,
I
dude.
fucking love it there, dude. The first time I was there, we got off the plane. I was so excited to be in Costa Rica with my buddies. We're walking down the street, and I'm like looking in the street, and I'm like, what the hell is that in the middle of the road?
A sloth.
And no, it was a boa constrictor eating an iguana.
Oh my god.
I thought it was like a trash bag, dude, like a trash bag full of leaves or something. It was like, this happens, and then we went to like a bar, and this iguana ran up on the bar. It was awesome. That was my first Costa Rican experience. We're crushing the time here, and I want to make sure I get you out of here on time. So before we take off, you know, for people that are listening to this that are into cooking, maybe they don't have, you know, the 3-star Michelin chef status. What do you have suggestion wise to make like a simple dish, 20 minutes or less, like just to make something taste good?
I will say I always recommend it to every home cook. And again, I'm not trying to. I know you love meat, but I think we should be more vegetable driven, just because of the whole system. But not the way that you do meat is how it's supposed to be done, not like mass produced. You know how to do. Anyways,
Yeah, mass produced meat is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Just look it up.
yeah,
It'll change your
educate
mind.
yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, check out first like The Sea if you want to check out Seaspiracy on Netflix.
Yep.
And that will teach you a lot, and then that will get you, anyways, into more other stuff. So for the home cook, there's this chef author named Yotam Ottolenghi. He is in London, and he has a series, I think, about 5 or 6 books that he's come out with. Really easy, approachable, vegetable-driven kind of recipes. There's like gluten-free options. There's like, you know, vegan. He is from Israel, so there's like a lot of those like yogurt and spices that are really, really cool. And those are some of my favorite cookbooks when it comes to home cook. 2, I would say marinate your proteins if you can. I mean, take influences from any part of the world and start with 2 or 3 marinades, and then just kind of put them in a Ziploc bag, and you do your proteins, put them in the freezer, and it's just that thing of throwing out. It's going to be flavorful, and then you sear it, you grill it, you do whatever, and it's a step that you could do once a week, and you have a beautiful meal that is different culture every other day type of thing. So marinating your meats is very important. When you go to the grocery store, you know how you get like the bags, like the little bags to put like your vegetables. Save those, because when you're prepping, the worst thing is like you have to like take everything and then put it in the trash. Just put it next to you, those little bags, as you open, and then you start throwing your trash in there.
That's a life hack right there.
Yeah, it's very, very convenient. Like I didn't realize this till, you know, I started cooking from home and doing videos last year because of the pandemic, and I was like, I had to like get all my whatever lemon skins and everything, and they just throw them inside the little bag, and you're reusing the bag already. So it's a good little life hack.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got a cookbook coming out anytime soon, or is that part of this book deal?
No, it's more of my story first.
Okay.
Again, I'm trying to reach as many people as I can and say my story, because I think it's a very inspirational one. Cookbook, that'll be down the road.
Okay.
Yeah, I still got a couple more years, I will say. There's a lot going on in my life right now. With the show, with the exposure, me trying to do other things. So kind of taking a step at a time. I don't want to overwhelm myself and kind of bite more than I could chew type of thing. But that's in the works. There's still, Byron's still going to stick around for a little bit more.
All right, man. Well, keep us posted, man. This has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed having you on, man.
Amazing.
I'm really glad that you reached out and made the drive down from Aspen and all that.
Yeah,
man.
Thanks for having me. I mean, if any questions or things
back,
like that, follow my social media, Chef Byron Gomez.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Let's drop all of your website.
Yeah.
You have a website. You got the restaurant. I mean, take as much time as you need.
Yeah.
But let's drop all that. Let them know where they can watch Top Chef, all that sort of stuff.
So restaurant is Restaurant 7908 in Aspen, so 7908aspen.com. Check us out. We're going to start this summer series where we're bringing guest chefs from the show. We're doing master sommelier dinners with wine pairing. We're doing farm-to-table dinners. So we're rolling out this whole series like twice a month. Ticketed events, special one night only type of deal. So come and check us out at 7908 in Aspen. Then my website, that's where I have most of my information, anything upcoming events, pop-ups, guest dinners, again, traveling anywhere in the country. So that's chefbyrongomez.com. Check me out on Instagram, Chef Byron Gomez. And I think that's it.
Cheers, man. This was awesome.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome back anytime.
Amazing. Thank you.
Anna, how we doing back there?
Looks great back here, Bobby.
All right, cool. Everybody, thank you for listening. Go follow Byron. Look at what he's doing. It's amazing. Go taste what he's doing if you're in the Aspen area. And keep an eye out for this guy, man.
Yes.
He's crushing it right now.
Thank you.
We want to have you back, so hit us up if you're ever in this town.
Amazing.
All
Thank
right.
you so much, Bobby. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. Also, if you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com. We wanted to let you know that the Mountainside Podcast is now available on Patreon. If you'd like access to bonus footage, behind-the-scenes content, ad-free listening, and much more, simply find the link in our bio or visit patreon.com/themountainside.